Who could have foreseen this?
Do you think...
So unpredictable.
Did your Republican colleagues defy President Trump here and take the best thing out of it?
Well, I mean, obviously the thing Donald Trump wanted, he didn't get. But it looks like Elon got some of the things he wanted, so that's interesting.
What got you guys over the finish line in terms of the Democrats voting for this?
Well, I think for 2 years now, Democrats have kept government open. Democrats have voted for CRs. Democrats have done the things that the American people have depended upon us to do. You're talking about $100 million for disaster aid. The Democrats have been voting for that and pushing that for 2 years. The drama that went on here for the last 2 days didn't need to happen. We literally wound up in the same place we were always going to wind up, which was the Democrats providing the majority of the votes to keep the government home open and deliver for the American people. Thank you.
Democratic Congress people that ended up voting in favor of the spending bill that kept the government open before Christmas definitely had their talking points in order as the saviors of Republican Speaker Mike Johnson, who may not even be Speaker by the time Trump is sworn in.
Among House and Senate Democrats, House and Senate Republicans, all by one tweet. That tweet has derailed the Congress for the last 48 hours, essentially. But we've ended up in a pretty good place. But this can never happen again, and I think the Republicans have learned if you make a deal, you keep your deal.
Sir, if Republicans were to bring a motion to vacate against Speaker Johnson, would Democrats vote to keep him in the speakership?
I mean, you're 3 or 4 crises ahead of me in the Republican Party right now. I know everybody's talking about the motion to vacate and how Mike Johnson is toast and all of that. First of all, I want us to take a moment to at least appreciate the fact that we've been able to stop another Republican shutdown of the government, and we stopped them from blowing up the debt ceiling in order to just pass a massive tax giveaway to the wealthiest Americans. Now, displaying their cannibalistic nature, they want to go after Mike Johnson. I don't know who they would replace him with. Some of them were talking about Elon Musk. It does not have to be an actual member of Congress. That doesn't sound very realistic to me. I don't think Elon Musk understands the first thing about the American government, much less the American Congress. But we'll see where they go. That's obviously a decision for the Republican caucus. We've chosen as our leader Hakeem Jeffries, who in this episode again acquitted himself beautifully. He kept our entire caucus together. We all voted together against their ridiculous plan yesterday, and we have voted to keep the government open today.
House Democrats have successfully funded the government at levels requested by President Biden in order to meet the needs of the American people in terms of their health, safety, and economic well-being. House Democrats have successfully fought for families, farmers, first responders, and the future of working-class Americans. House Democrats have successfully fought for $100 billion in disaster assistance in order to make sure that those everyday Americans whose lives have been turned upside down in terms of hurricanes, storms, tornadoes, wildfires, floods, and other extreme weather events can get the assistance that they need to address the problems they've been confronting.
Now, House members knew the reporters would be waiting at the steps of the Capitol to get their spin on who's at fault and who are the champions of this bill that look like the same tug of war that they always go through when government funding is threatening a shutdown. But this time, the questions included Trump and Elon's meddling, and also Mike Johnson's speakership being on the line come January 3rd.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I voted against it, of course. What's the difference between the bill yesterday and today, except this one they took out the part that Trump actually liked, that he wanted in there. There's $5.7 billion for submarines. There's funding for the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Well, the dadgum barge that hit it was insured, and apparently it was 100%. So, $100 billion for disaster relief. Those folks need disaster relief. But where do they come up with the figure $100 billion? We don't trust this Biden administration with a nickel, and we're giving them $100 billion to play with for 30 days. I think there's a lot of holes in that. And then you get into the farm bill. It continues it. Of course, we know that Under the Farm Bill, 83% of that is food stamps, and the largest portion of that, you know what the largest portion of that is? One of the largest portions, soft drinks. So there's just a lot in there, but they only put that ahead for a year so we could work on it. But you know how that goes. I always pass it so we can work on it again next year. And this country's broke, $36 trillion in debt. Y'all know that.
Representative Tim Burchett, who was one of several Republicans that helped kick Kevin McCarthy's ass out as his role as House Speaker, also had some thinking to do when it comes to backing his replacement, who isn't very popular with Trump cronies like Steve Bannon. So January isn't looking like it'll be smooth sailing for virtually anyone.
30-plus Republican no votes. You're one of them. Does that mean Speaker Johnson has got to be worried about his job come early January?
We have a majority of about 3 people. We get a bad case of the flu up here, and we're not in the majority. I'd say he's worried on it about every day. But I don't think he's really worried. I think he prays about it. He does what he thinks right.
You think January 3rd next year will be a lot shorter than January 3rd was in 2023?
I don't know. I've lived through a lot of them. We'll just see.
What does it say to you that Donald Trump did not get what he wanted tonight, despite being the leader of the Republican Party?
Well, apparently he's happy with the bill, I think, from what I understood. There's a lot of mixed signals. You know, everybody's reading what's on X and who's saying what about what. I have to vote my conscience. I voted my conscience last night. I voted it tonight. These continued resolutions are bad ideas.
You know, it must really suck to have to toe the Trump line while also trying to come up with a way to fool constituents into believing you have your own thought process. Oh, and also blaming every problem that petulant billionaires create on a party that's not even in power. But it's a position that these Republicans got themselves into.
President-elect Trump had demanded a debt limit increase, and that's ultimately not in this final product, in part because of House Republicans, the 38 who voted against yesterday's deal. Yeah. What does that say about his influence over the hardline elements of the caucus? And
he is the leader of our party, and he will be the leader of our party. He is the leader of our party. Every once in a while, somebody may have a disagreement with him. We have a job to do here. We have our own opinions. And again, I respect, President Trump. On this, I supported him 100%. And they're entitled to their opinion. So I respect the fact that they are entitled to their opinion. But I think the president will have a tremendous influence on the things that we want to carry out his agenda. We want to carry out the America First agenda. We want to put this country on the right track, and he's going to lead us in that direction.
But by taking out the debt ceiling, did Speaker Johnson defy President-elect Trump?
No, I don't think so. I think that we needed to get this done. We needed to have. We didn't want the government to be shut down. We needed to give people that were ravaged by these hurricanes in Georgia and North Carolina. We needed to give them relief. We needed to give our farmers relief, and we needed to keep the government running. So, but we also made a pledge to the president that we are going to increase the debt limit. And by the way, at the end of the day, we have to. Are we going to default? Really? We're going to do it. And the Democrats, if we need their help, they're going to help us do it.